Bonjour! Bonsoir! Oh! Dear friends, I'm wrestling with one of the best winemaker, Thane Knutson, all the way from Oklahoma.
That's right.
Here we are. We own our barrels, which are aging some fantastic wines, isn't it?
Oh, I think so.
Ah! I got his attention diverted. Ah! So, dear friends, today, it's a tale of two American stories. As we want to say, the tales of two worlds. Thane, tell us about those two marvelous visions that we're going to have. We'll take a little break on the wrestling. Oof. So, dear friends, we are at the 1881 and Durant and Booth cellars in the heart of Napa Valley. Thane Knutson, who's been our winemaker with Stephanie Putnam for 11 years at Raymond Vineyard, has taken over the fabulous 1881 vision and the Durant and Booth to bring to America something very unique.
Very unique and very fun for Boisset.
You are arrested.
No.
I'm not the sheriff yet. You're going to have to grab it from me and serve.
All right.
Oh, he neutralized me. Now I'm his servant. So, dear friends, we're going to taste on barrel something special.
This is something very fun and totally new. This is actually some bourbon barrels.
Aha! Bourbon and wine, are we crazy?
Absolutely. We'd have it no other way. A little more.
So what's the idea here, Thane? Because this is a big trend for some of you who are not in the United States of what's happening in Napa Valley, in California at large, in the wine country, is to bring bourbon barrel flavor profile to Napa Cab. And originally when I read about this, I said, are you out of your freaking mind, Thane?
Absolutely.
I know
right?
you love to be wild.
It's what's so fun is new ideas, right?
Totally agree. So when you're from Oklahoma City, right?
OKC, yeah. Born
the
and
best
bred.
state.
Yes, I'm partial.
So you've been drinking beers and bourbon all your life.
Right, the land of beers and barley and wheat.
And great beef.
Great steaks, and they really know how to grill it up just right out there, and what better thing to pair with that great steak than wine? But I've traveled west and I've learned a lot, and wine, and especially like when you start talking some bourbon barrel aged wine, I think it's just a special treat, something new and fresh to bring to that fantastic steak.
So when you think about Cab, normally the top end is always in French oak.
Absolutely.
Which is what you do at Raymond Vineyards. Now, we branched out with 1881. We'll try it in a moment. In American oak, 100%, right?
What is that? Yeah, I mean, we're standing in front of all this beautiful French oak, but this is a total departure. And when you taste it, it has its own character, own cream, own like richness and umami, and like this bourbon vanilla character that comes.
Yahoo!
I mean,
or shall we say yeehaw?
I always tell Jean-Charles to put earmuffs when we say American oak, but they do it upright. This is really cool.
So this is from our friend Heaven Hill Distillers, who we love, of course, great family. So explain everyone, what the hell are we doing here?
Right, so if we're standing in front of these bourbon barrels, which you can really see the difference. They toast it different, they source it different, and the whole goal with bourbon is totally different than with wine. And you can see it. It's been in a barn, and they love to like give it that wide temperature swing, which really extracts a lot into that bourbon. You get that crazy, rich vanilla character because of how they treat this oak. But it looks totally different. And a lot of that's where they're sourcing the trees, out of the middle of the US, right? And it gives it this very unique character and very unique look, because these barrels are very old. They've been aged, the bourbon aged for 12 years in these barrels before they were delivered to us. to create this beautiful elixir today.
Which is so cool, dear friends, because when you think about innovation, it's close to what has never ever been done. When you think about Napa Cab, it's pure.
On the timeline of wine,
It's
super
out of
young,
this world,
right?
So, give us an idea of this Durant and Booth. So, Durant and Booth are the two founding family of the fabulous Oakville Grocery in Oakville in 1881. They actually established their first home in 1874, finished it in 1879, which was an amazing achievement, that gorgeous Victorian house.
Beautiful house.
And we thought it would be in honor of them, really appropriate and a great privilege and honor for us to carry their legacy by crafting a wine in their honor.
Right.
All American, and Thane said, let's push the envelopes, let's go crazy.
We're really diving deep into that idea of Americana, you know, westward movement, settling and developing that Oakville site. And so what better way to honor their heritage than something even more Americana? You have bourbon, white oak bourbon barrels to really set it apart from just something else that's happening in the valley to something truly unique and inspiring. Just the way that it pairs, it puts it apart. This is really the tale of two American oaks today, because this is bourbon, and we'll go on to some other American oak that has been vilified in a lot of ways for American wines or Napa wines, but has come a long way since Durant and Booth.
So what can our friend expect as we're releasing this wine as we speak? It's happening. That gorgeous packaging with barrel bourbon age, cab. I mean, for me, it's one of the most iconoclast thing that we've ever done. And it's really the contrast of the purity of the essence of the French oak from the central of France and the toasting level of what we do with very delicate attention. But I must say, in life you confess. I confess in front of you. Will I be ever forgiven of all my sins?
I think so, if you have a glass of this.
Okay.
Yeah, right?
Look at what I'm going to do. Not only I confess, I cleanse in my throat. I'm very impressed.
It's beautiful. And
describe us as a fabulous winemaker that you are, Thane Knutson. Great name, Knutson. It could be a great brand one day.
Oh, there you go.
And I know how to pronounce it well, Knutson.
It rolls off the tongue.
Yes, and the throat at the same time. It's very good. So, what do people will expect? What should they expect from this?
We're always telling the tale of place and what pairs well with our wine and why it pairs well with the wine when we're creating something, and you have this vision of what you should do to make a wine better. And when you're thinking about bourbon, you need something that's bolder and bigger and richer, so it can stand up to this barrel and the essences that came along with it, because it was fresh dumped. It had bourbon in there for years, and so it has a lot of that warmer, sweeter notes on the nose.
Absolutely.
So people expect more. They expect more power, and it's going to really reach out and grab people whenever they take a glass, and they're expecting something super laid back and maybe soft and a little over the top Napa. I mean, this is going to really, really be eye-opening.
I mean, I drank my first glass for confession, so now I'm pure. And
I don't know. We may need to drink a little bit more.
Thank you, Thane. And now it's delicate at the same time. It's not just caramel and chocolate and licorice and, verbal expression. It has a lot of finesse to it too, surprisingly.
Right. And I think that what's wonderful about this and the Oakville concept and going from Durant and Booth into 1881 is you get this wonderful story, a stair step of cabs. This Napa Durant and Booth really is approachable in a lot of ways. I think of it as a baby 1881 in a lot of ways. The grape that all baby grapes want to grow up into one day is this Durant and Booth. It has an approachability to it, and yet it has that structure and backbone to it. And when the challenge is to try and fuse those things together and give it the proper time it deserves to complete a new vision for Napa Cab.
I'm with you. And Thane, for you who comes from a great state with fabulous food and rich food, and I know you love barbecuing, I know you love cooking as well. Your wife has told me a lot about you.
Right? We can't get away from it. You can't get away from your roots, you know? They create us, they make us what we are, and I think we put a lot of that into the products that we create here.
And so what would you pair this with as food?
You know, I love the idea of barbecue. It's hard to get away from that when you're talking about something that has that wonderful, rich cherry, vanilla character to it and finesse. I mean, you have some wonderful, like, smoky barbecue on the nose. It's just going to pair wonderfully well with a glass of this.
And what specifically would you do?
I always like pulled pork. I don't know why.
Why
You know,
not?
just like, why not?
I was not thinking of that at all.
It's a little different. Rather than just a cut of beef going into something pulled, it's something a little more from Oklahoma or maybe Texas, you know, getting your pulled pork. Yep. It just that wonderful sweetness pairs really well with this Durant.
I love it, and we have a lot of friends in Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
I hope some of you are watching
Man.
and are with us. We love you, and we have great emotions when we think of Oklahoma. What a great state. So let's drink this because it's easy, and then we're going to try the other tail, which is quite exceptional. There's a bottle less from the barrel. We did it. So now, Thane, I want to serve you another great wine. Look at this. 1881 Napa Cabernet Sauvignon 2018. This is something absolutely amazing, honoring Napa Valley, the founders, the history, and even more importantly, the heritage of Napa Valley. So, yeah, you could put it back in the barrel because it's healthy, you know? We're killing everything through that beautiful level of alcohol. Wow. Look at this. So here.
That's a treat.
What do we have? We're going to have fun tonight in the cellar. It's going to be Thane and I, and we may go to the bar and barbecue.
Right? What happens in Napa stays in Napa. Man, this is so cool. It's something related. It's American oak, but it's a totally different story. So when you think American oak, you know, what do you think about in Napa Valley?
That's it. So who does American oak in Napa Valley?
You know, I mean, the go-to is silver oak, right?
Our neighbor.
Right?
We're only 500 yards away.
Iconic. I mean, that is the shout out when you think about American oak.
Yeah.
And it has a classic style to it that people they gravitate towards. They want something that has more umami character and has more like herbs de Provence. It has this distinctive character that is American.
When he says umami, the lights goes down. Did you notice? We're on censor here because it's moonlighting. When he says what is in Napa stays in Napa.
Right?
That's the key reason.
Right?
Yeah.
All these, the whole cellar is wired and very sustainable and trying to promote that. You guys have to come out and see all of our facilities, the solar and everything, really trying to promote a sustainable farming culture here.
That's the essence of life. So I'm in love with 1881. And I got to tell you, all of you, dear friends from all around the world, this is the wine you must have. From Canada to Asia to Europe to Africa, maybe South America. We'll see if you deserve it. Your inflation is too high. We tease you. That's the wine you must have. And it's impressive because it's iconic, as you said. It's kind of the foundation of what you would expect as a great cab from Napa with this American flair.
Right?
This American identity.
It adds a little something extra to Napa. And you know, people are not expecting this when they hear it's American oak. People come here, they taste French oak all day, and I love it. That's what we use through a lot of our wines. But when you have as much evolution as what has happened in the oak industry, you can really make something that's so cool and so unique, tailored to wine now. It's eye-opening for people, the departure from traditional American oak. This gives you a much sweeter, rounder nose, and you can really smell
I have
the
a
concentration.
sweeter, rounder nose. Did you see my nose? It has changed.
Maybe that's what's happening here.
We're living a transformation.
Right?
Which I love about this. We're not trying to be French. We're not trying to be Bordeaux. We are proud to be Napa Valley American.
Absolutely.
And that's the cool thing. So on that note, Thane, what would you serve as food with this?
So this is gonna go much more traditional, where you're really looking at something New York strip or something that has been flame broiled, has the right amount of crispiness to the outside, and just that juicy warm center goes fantastic with something like this.
Well, dear friends, it's very exciting. Tales of two
American oaks.
Woohoo! So we have Durant and Booth, Cabernet Sauvignon, and 1881 Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. Thane, you're all American, aren't you?
All American.
All American, from the jeans to the great shirt to, did you see the belt?
Oh man.
I mean, Dylan, you got to go short. He's got a lot of kids under that belt. That's very cool.
That's true.
And he's managing a lot of barrels over here.
Absolutely.
So we're having a lot of fun, aren't we?
Yeah, every day. Man, you have to buckle up whenever you're around here.
Come and visit, dear friends, and happy month of July. And soon, Bastille Day. Be ready.
Cheers.